Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends and get your gaming goodness every Saturday at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm Dylan Blight. Joining me today on the couch, Ashley Hobley.
Yeah.
Today on the show, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be getting our final word in on the Game Awards as our scorekeeper, Jaydan, gives us the results. We're going to be going over some more Game Store stuff as Discord came in at the last second last week. Was like, hey, you should have talked about this last week as well, but never mind, you already put it out. And we're going to talk about Life is Strange 2. Has an episode out for episode number 2. We're going to talk about Pokemon Go. PvP is out this past week. And then me and Ash will be breaking down the Game Awards.
So you don't have to.
Show. So you don't have to watch it. And we'll have a final say on that. Yes, we are going to watch it. We feel obligated after the amount we talked about it to watch it at this point. So that is a thing. That's this week. But before we jump into all the new stuff, let's go over Jaydan Pryor's letter. Jaydan Pryor, the official scorekeeper and referee and all-around great guy, sent in his lovely letter, as per usual, to give myself, Ash and Kieran the final word on how we went for our Game Awards predictions about trailers and reveals that would be happening during the show. Now, Ash, how would you say we usually go with this?
We are eternally optimistic.
Eternally optimistic.
Generally incorrect.
How would you say Jaydan's letters usually go?
Brutally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I only read the opening paragraph to this just I couldn't help myself when
Just
it came
to make
through.
sure.
So yeah, I just make sure, it was fine.
To make sure it was
wasn't a
actually
joke.
Jaydan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I read the first paragraph and I was like, yep, here we go. So let's get into it. It starts, quote, low-hanging fruit. Surely by now, every single one of you should know that when it comes to predictions of the Explosion Network, low-hanging fruit doesn't exist. At this point, I don't even know why I bother with this, but here it goes anyway. The results of your 2018 Game Awards predictions. Ashley was first, so we'll start with him. You ready, Ash?
Oh, ready.
Strap in. His first prediction was that there would be an announcement of the new Rocksteady game, which he said would be a Superman game. The Explosion Network Twitter account tweeted out the release of episode 5 of Arcade Couch at 8 a.m. on the 1st of December. Literally 16 minutes later, co-founder of Rocksteady, Stefan Hill, tweeted that Rocksteady wouldn't be at the Game Awards and that the project they're working on isn't Superman. 0 points. I hope that's fucking true, not just a made-up number. That it literally 16 minutes later he tweeted it, because that would make a lot of sense for how things usually go.
It does, yeah.
That is usually how it happens.
Yeah, usually. I mean, usually it'd be like 1-2 minutes, but 16, I mean, they gave me...
It's quite fast.
I mean, they could have actually gotten to the point in the episode where I made the prediction before it was shot down.
Yeah. Next, you said that EA Vancouver's version of Visceral's Star Wars game would be shown. You also added that a Jedi Fallen Order trailer would be unveiled. Neither of these things occurred. 0 points. During one of the many occasions where you all thought that the Game Awards would lose all of its power and go dark.
To be fair, it happened.
It did happen when Persona got announced. It happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, Jaydan. and
it was cool when it happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, although, he's kind of fair. The amount of times it was like,
We predicted
and then
like 6.
it'll go dark. And the trailer, so, okay. Ashley predicted that 3 green lights would appear on the main screen to announce a new Splinter Cell game. There was indeed a blackout for the... Oh, thank you. At least he covered it. There was indeed a blackout for the Joker and Smash announcement. And as tempting as it is to give you half a point for the lights going out, I don't want to get on Dylan's bad side. Smart. Especially after the whole God of War New Game Plus fiasco last time. 0 points. Rightfully so, because that was fucking bullshit. Dude.
That was correct.
Absolute fucking bullshit.
It was downloadable content.
It was a free update.
Downloadable content.
None of you understand.
Witcher 3's New Game Plus mode was DLC.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
You have to download. You have to purchase a DLC patch.
Okay. Well, okay. You didn't have to for God of War.
That's because they were nice and made it easier for you. But it's still downloadable content.
I hate all of yous. At the Game Awards, Nintendo didn't show off. Oh, no. Fuck it. I skipped ahead somehow. No, that's right. At the Game Awards, Nintendo didn't show off the next generation of Pokemon, and therefore Ashley was wrong again. 0 points. Finally, Ashley said that Retro Studios would be at the show with a long dormant Nintendo IP. Retro Studios was not at the Game Awards in any capacity, and so like all of his other previous predictions, he was incorrect. 0 points. Congratulations, Ashley. You didn't do any worse than usual, but unfortunately, you only ever set a depressingly low bar. Your total, if you haven't managed to keep track of yourself, is 0.
Just very unlucky that they didn't accidentally put what I wanted on the show.
Isn't that funny when we read back our predictions and I think about them compared to the actual reveals and trailers we got? I'm like, we are crazy.
Yeah, that would have been a great show.
It would have been a great show. A lot different than we got. Now we'll move on to Dylan, who decided on this occasion to try and make Ashley feel better about himself by matching his mediocrity. Firstly, Dylan said that the Harry Potter game that had previously leaked would be officially revealed. No game based on J.K. Rowling's series of books or 8 overrated films. Hold your fucking horse, Jaydan. Was announced at the Game Awards. 0 points. Dylan's next prediction was that Skyward Sword would be getting a Switch port. Nintendo did not announce a port for any Zelda game on the Switch. 0 points. The third prediction was that there would be a new trailer for Cyberpunk 2077 from CG Projekt Red, or was that CG Projekt Red? I get confused sometimes. I think he wrote it right correctly when he was trying to write it incorrectly once. But anyway, and I can't remember why. Regardless of the developer's name, Cyberpunk 2077 did not have a new trailer at the Game Awards. 0 points. Your next prediction was that Bayonetta 3 would have a trailer at the awards. As much as I would have loved to see that Harry Witch and her soon-to-be police-issue gun boots, I'm sad to say I could not will that into the existence for you. 0 points. You too went down that rock-steady road, saying that they would be at the awards with their next game. You also added that the main character of the game would be Batman, or that Batman would be at the very least one of the main characters. You too fell victim to your recording schedule. If only you guys recorded these the day before the event. The predictions you would have made in their place probably would have been right. Probably wouldn't have been right either, but at least there would be hope. 0 points. That's a grand total of 0 points for you, Dylan.
Yay!
He can have
0 buddies.
He can have an F for execution, but an A for effort. I'll end on your saving grace of your organization, Kieran Marchant. I never want to hear that sentence written or read aloud out my lips ever again. Just when I think all hope is lost, he has always been there to show everyone up and prove you all aren't losers, although he didn't have a great start. His first prediction was that there would be a rebooted... Hold on. To be fair, I'd also like to point out Kieran lost horribly in our Game Awards actual winners and losers category, where he scored 8 points, below, which was several below me and Shree tying on 11 and Ash winning by 12. See, Ash, me, Shree, 11, 12 points. Kieran, all the way down there with fucking 8. He scrapes his boots in here for a point at some point, I reckon. His first prediction there would be a rebooted Alien game. No new game from the Alien franchise was present at the Game Awards. 0 points. Also, all of Kieran's predictions were scraping the fucking low-hanging fruit. Next, he suggested that Hideo Kojima would be present, bringing with him another trailer for the show, as well as the game's release date. The sequel to E3's Delivery Boy Simulator trailer was not at the Game Awards, and neither was the release date for the game. 0 points.
I mean, that was more shocking than it...
That Hideo Kojima wasn't there, first off. Yeah, no, it was weird. A trailer for the Square Enix Avengers project was your third prediction. Despite the Russo brothers being present at the Game Awards, there was nothing there at all to do with the Avengers project outside of Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3. 0 points. Your last stupid prediction was that Nintendo would announce a new Mario Kart for Switch. If only you had said that superior kart racing game, thank you, John, Crash Team Racing would be there instead. 0 points. Lastly, see, look at the point he scrapes in on. The fucking Bastard. Lastly, you said that Epic Games would announce a game-changing event or a new map in Fortnite at the Game Awards. Epic Games announced The Block. Remember, if you'll all recall, listeners, the DLC based on the hit TV show. Hit TV show
starring Scott Caan. Yeah.
Starring Scott Caan. Yeah. Game-changing is a subjective term, but I am going to apply it objectively and perhaps differently to your original meaning and say that although the change in the game is minor, it is a change nonetheless, and therefore, game-changing quotation marks, the nature of the block also means the map is technically new. 1 point. Nice work, Kieran. You held off some strong competition for these predictions to get the win with 1 whole point. It has been a great pleasure to do this for the Explosion Network once again. I might fall behind on my shows and my interactions with you on social media. Socials might be limited, but I always make time for these special occasions. Just do me a favor, and for the next couple of conferences, can you not predict a Borderlands 3 trailer? Because I actually want there to be a chance of being one. All the best, Jaydan.
E3. Borderlands 3.
The lights go out.
The lights go out. Claptrap starts talking.
3 lights appear on the screen. They're Claptrap's eyes.
Then a poppy
a
song
Claptrap
plays.
appears from the roof via wire.
Yeah. Yeah. He rolls out like BB-8.
Yeah. He comes in like Hugh Jackman from that thing where he toured here with Oprah.
And then it
Or
turns
Deep
out
Cold.
it's not Borderlands 3. It's actually just making Claptrap choice.
It's a Borderlands pop final mobile game. Well, there you go. Thanks again, as always, Jaydan.
Thanks,
we always
Jaydan.
enjoy you shitting on us, oddly, somehow. And also, Kieran sucks. And winning by predicting Fortnite would get an update at the Game Awards.
Game
is
changing? I
low-hanging
don't
fruit.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't care if Scott Cam's involved.
He's just not that big of a star. It's not that big of a deal.
Outside of Australia, no. I don't even watch that show. I like how we talk about this the Fortnite DLC for so long that eventually these people will be like, is the Fortnite DLC actually from the Block TV show? It's not, though.
I mean, they should.
It's fine. What would it be?
I mean, we just need to put the Block logo on the sign that says the Block.
And that's
And
it?
it's official. Yeah.
Okay. That's all. I didn't know it would be so easy.
I mean, technically, you could design levels that are based on past Block rooms. I don't know. Seems,
How fucking boring.
yeah.
Oh,
I bet it's not boring for somebody.
it's probably true.
I've seen House
All right.
Flipper on friggin' Steam. Have you
Is
seen
that
that?
a real thing?
Yeah.
No. What is that?
You get like a rundown house and then you have to renovate it.
Like,
It's like
you
Mechanic
walk a-
Simulator or all those other those sort of things. Yeah. But
No thing.
yeah. But this one looks like hoarders lived in the house first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds bad. All right, let's move on to some news. So after we talked about Epic Games Store last week and the increased revenue split that they are going to be offering developers on their store platform, Discord walked in and said, hold my beer, and revealed that they will be offering a 90-10 split with developers starting in 2019 on their storefront, which they only opened up and started earlier this year. I don't really know many people. I don't know anyone who uses the Discord store. It's kind of just a thing that exists. You open the Discord app on your PC. It's like, hey, there's games here. You can buy them. Maybe there's an audience for it. I really just don't know about. People, of course, are heavy into Discord. You know, a lot of people are in 1,000,001 groups. We have a Discord.
ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord.
Discord. Got him. But we don't have any 90-10 split, that's for sure. So I thought I'd read their thing here quickly because it was interesting how they word it, because Discord is a cool company. You know, they're pretty cool. They're pretty hip. Try and stay
Modern.
up with the kids. Modern, yeah. So modern that at the start of their blog post announcing this, they just put TLDR. In 2019, Discord still will allow all developers to self-publish games with a 90-10 split. There you go. Thank you for the TLDR. But then it opens. Back in 2015, we asked ourselves a few questions. Why do you still need to enter an IP address to join a voice chat? Why do gamers have to pay for a voice chat? Everyone was already using Ventrilo, TeamSpeak, or Mumble, and we wanted to make yet another one. Did you ever use any of those, Ash? Like I've used Ventrilo, I've used TeamSpeak and Mumble at various times because I had all three installed because sometimes I'd play League of Legends with people and they'd be like, what do you talk on? Oh, I use this. Oh, I use this. Because this was before Discord. This was before Discord was launched, back when I was playing League so much. And it was like, oh, I could use Skype, but Skype's pretty shithouse. And no one ever wanted to use Skype because it was such a, like a bandwidth suck, basically. And you obviously didn't want your ping to be super high while you was playing online games. So that's why everyone loves Discord, because it was a free voice service that didn't suck when it was first launched. However, we believe that we would create a modern and easy-to-use app that provided more people with an amazing experience of hanging out online with friends. Only 4 years later, with over 200 people have used Discord to chat and play games with friends. And then they continue to talk more about Nitro a little bit. And then earlier this year, we noticed a change happening in the games industry. We talked a lot to developers, and many of them felt that current stores are not earning their 30% or the usual 70-30 revenue share. Because of this, we now see developers creating their own stores and launchers to distribute their games instead of focusing on what's really important, making great games and cultivating amazing communities. So we asked ourselves a few more questions. Why does it cost 30% to distribute games? Is this the only reason developers are building their own stores and launchers to distribute games? Turns out it does not cost 30% to distribute games in 2018. After doing some research, we discovered that we can build amazing developer tools, run them, and give developers the majority of the revenue share. So starting in 2019, we're going to extend across to Discord, the store, and our extremely efficient game patcher by releasing a self-serve game publishing platform. No matter what size, from AAA to single-person teams, developers will be able to self-publish on Discord store with 90% revenue share going to the developer. The remaining 10% covers our operating costs, and we'll explore lowering it by optimizing our tech and making things much more efficient. Lastly, we'll continue to focus on what's brought 200 million people to Discord so far, top tier voice, video, and text chat. We're constantly working on making Discord better, faster, stronger, and we have a few features coming out in the next couple of weeks to months, including some of our top requested features on our official feedback site. Blah, 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 blah. So, we now live in a world where Steam is taking the most money, but is the most known and popular service. You're then also going to have Epic, as I was talking about last week, still offering a lot better go, but not quite as much as Discord. But of course, Epic has a lot of money that they're using to get exclusives to bring people over to their store. And you've got Itch over in the side, which I briefly talked about last week. And if you don't know what Itch is, itch.io is a launcher. It is a website. It doesn't have your big AAA games on it. It's where a lot of indie games go. And you can find a lot of your favorite indie games that you've probably brought on Steam on there. And the reason most indie developers prefer you to buy from Itch is because Itch runs at 100% developers get all the money and they can choose how much they want to give to Itch. So it's kind of like hey, if you sell a bunch on Itch, think about kicking us some back for being the launcher for it type scenario. So that's obviously why indie developers like that one more, because they get the bigger cut of money out of it. What do you think about this for the Discord though, Ash? Do you think people are actually going to buy games off Discord? Like bother? Like is it just more of a hassle if people don't already have it? They're going to install it. It's all sorts of things.
I don't know. Yeah. They solved the first problem of being on people's computers. They're there. Why not buy things through them? I mean, rather than especially compared to Epic, for anybody who's not currently playing Fortnite.
Fortnite, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it just depends on pricing. If it's competitive, for a consumer, I feel like 80% of consumers don't care what the cut is. They're just looking for the best deal for them.
I'd say like 97% of people don't really care how much developers, they just want their games.
Yeah, I was being generous. Yeah, so it's interesting Discord's gone this route. Obviously they've got their Nitro service where they give other games, I believe. It's like a subscription service. Yeah, it's kind of like Twitch where they do give you games, but it's not like the main reason you buy it, obviously. It's like to get more emote. You can use like emotes from different servers you're a part of on
of other servers and stuff like that people care about who might use Discord a lot, I suppose, as their main like group chat messaging service or something like that.
I don't know, yeah.
But
it's not like Epic where it's clear they've got another source of revenue, so it is sustainable for the long term.
Yeah. I think the biggest difference between this and the Epic store that we talked about last week is that Epic is going to get people who don't play Fortnite to install it because of the fact that they've already got, they've got exclusives. They've got exclusives happening, and that's why they will get people over there. Whereas Discord's already installed, so people would be willing to buy stuff off there, I guess. Life is Strange 2 has finally got a release date this week. The second episode has been revealed to be coming out January 24th, and this was revealed at the end of a live action trailer that remade basically near the end, just before the end of the first episode. And at the end of that, it also included some gameplay footage from the second episode and revealed one big piece of information in the synopsis, which is that we are going to be meeting up with Chris from the Captain Spirit Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit game. And so everything I basically wanted from episode 2. And it was a really cool trailer, I thought. Like, the acting wasn't fantastic from the people who were in the live action trailer, but at the same time, it was still pretty cool to watch. And I like how they do it. You know, it's a cool moment from the first episode. I don't really want to spoil it in case people are still waiting to play that. Here's the thing. It's hard to talk. It's like, it's 4 months later.
So if you don't want to spoil it, don't watch the trailer if you haven't played the first episode.
If you don't want spoilers, definitely don't watch it because it is kind of at the end of the...
You'll be spoiled to find out that it's coming January 24th, 2019.
Yeah, that. But with as light as the spoilers as I can, I do want to briefly talk about them meeting up with Krish. So I'll ignore what the live action trailer goes over. But if you want zero spoilers, just look in the time codes below and skip ahead a little bit. But so... at the end of the... Well, actually, I'll just read the synopsis first, then we can go into it. So, the synopsis for episode 2 reads, on the run from the police following a... and this is, of course, some spoilers for the first episode as well. On the run from the police following a tragic incident in Seattle and the manifestation of a strange supernatural power, Sean and Daniel Diaz continue the journey into the winter months. As the two brothers struggle against the cold, Daniel gets increasingly ill. Sean decides that they must take a risk and make their way to their distant grandparents' house to recover and seek shelter. There they encounter next door neighbor Chris Erickson, a young boy who believes he has powers eerily similar to Daniel's, and they come face to face with his superhero alter ego, Captain Spirit. As Daniel and Chris are becoming fast friends, it's up to Sean to make sure Daniel follows a set of rules they agreed upon for his power. Never in public, never talk about it, run from danger. Can Daniel successfully hide the truth from the people around them? Will the temptation to explore the immense power within him be too much, or will he break the rules in a time of need? It's a pretty epic and long synopsis, I also find.
Interesting.
You played Captain Spirit.
I played Captain Spirit, so
Yeah.
I've...
Might want to catch up, or?
Maybe. So clearly this it will set place after the Captain Spirit
So,
thing.
presumably, here's how timeline goes. And this is what I was theorizing already. And pretty much it feels like everything else kind of theorizing is what's going to happen. And not that it was hard to kind of put the pieces together, but it's still nice. So the first episode is before Captain Spirit. And we kind of already knew this because in Captain Spirit, there was newspaper clippings that when you, in retrospect, kind of describe the shooting that happens at the start of the first episode. So it wouldn't be in the newspaper, so it's obviously after. So Captain Spirit's up to episode 1. We know where the bus, because at the end of episode 1, they're on a bus heading somewhere, and they're heading towards winter territory. And of course, we know Captain Spirit's set during the winter times. That was all making sense. When we see Daniel and Sean, their characters, which we now know are their characters, because if you go back and play Captain Spirit or look up video, the two kids over the fence for that split second are definitely Sean and Daniel from the Life is Strange season 2. They're in the backyard of a house. So If we put the synopsis and what's happening there, then we're going to presume that they're in the backyard of that house because that's their grandparents' house. And that's when they arrive at their grandparents' house and they're in the backyard. And then the initial theory is all going to come true, which is that Chris doesn't have any powers. And it was, in fact, Sean Daniel, sorry.
Just saved him.
I think I got it right. Daniel, who does save him, which is the thing that everyone was theorizing when Captain Spirit came out anyway, that it was the kid before we even knew, like, Life is Strange 2 was even going to star two kids, really. And everyone's theorizing that it was the kid next door who actually saved him and it wasn't Chris himself saving him. So, but I will throw out the idea that would be interesting, which is that after everything and being like, Chris doesn't have powers, it was the kid next door, what if Chris still has powers? It's not that, but Chris could still have powers. It's something else. Because we've got to remember,
He's
although
got the power of imagination.
Yeah, that's true. That also. But there's a screenshot you can find online, that Square or Don't Nod or whoever released, and it's this picture of Sean next to. I'm getting really confused. I think Daniel's a kid and Sean's. I should double check, but the kid anyway of the brothers next to Chris, and Chris has got like face paint. And they're inside a house, so I presume what happens is after they save him, maybe they run over. Are you okay? You okay? And then maybe I reckon it's going to play off that Chris still thinks it's him, like it's his powers that he saved himself. So then it's going to be this funny thing of, like, he's going to say, I've got powers, I've got this. And then maybe Sean or Daniel, I feel like it's Sean. It's so hard. Like, maybe he gets annoyed that this kid is claiming for his powers, but it says they become really good friends. Don't know. But we have to get to that point anyway, because the episode's going to start with them, I presume, going to want to live up in the woods. Maybe that's what the plan is. Like, they're going to get away from society a bit or something along those lines. They're up in the woods in the winter, and that's why he gets sick, and that's why they need to come back down and track down to their grandparents' home or something like that. I'm not really sure, because their plan by the end of the first game, slight spoilers once again, their plan by the end of the first episode is to make their way to their home. Like, they want to cross the border. They want to go to Mexico. They want to go to the family members over there. So I'm not sure how sidetracked they're getting with their plan exactly and what's going on, but I'm really excited. I like that they're actually tying in the Captain Spirit thing, even though Captain Spirit, I feel, can stand alone quite well. It's fine without any sort of connections, but it's still nice that it's being tied in, because I did like that character, and I would be happy to explore more of that stuff with that character. And I'm going to hope, this is the only thing that's going to annoy me, is if they ditch everything about Chris's storyline in favor of the other characters. Because we got to remember that we played an hour or 2 hours, depending on how long you spent with him, with Chris, and we got attached to that character, got attached to his story, emotionally invested. And I think that means that if you're going to put him into this next episode, you kind of got to treat him like one of the main characters. Somewhat, you can't just.
It can't be a cameo.
It can't just be a cameo. I feel like that kind of just rubs shit in the face of the Captain Spirit solo game and the people who may got attached to that character. And there's still a lot of things from that game that I would love and hope would be paid off in this. And maybe they'll read your save file, or just ask questions at the start of the episode, what happened, or something along those lines. Because, of course, if you play Captain Spirit, there's a thing where you have the slight spoilers for this game as well. But at this stage, I mean, it's out long enough, show. Like, how, you got a bit of you've got abusive dad in like a drunk dad in that game. And it comes to a point where someone knocks on the door, and you can kind of end it where that person knocking on the door and you're talking to them will either kind of walk away being like, everything's fine, this house is no problem, or in the version I got where they walk away and they said they're going to call the cops or get help or something along those lines. So if we're going to see moments after Chris is saved from falling out of that treehouse, and then we're also going to see what plays out with the cops showing up or not showing up, or what's happening with his dad. There's a lot of elements from that Captain Spirit thing that could be put into play with this episode as well, that a lot of people are probably going to be interested to see what happens with them. So that's exciting. It also makes me kind of want to play through Captain Spirit again before the release date, possibly, because it's only an hour, nice refresher. And also, I think if I was to say which is better, Captain Spirit or episode 1 of Life is Strange, as much as I really, really like it, Life is Strange episode 1, which I do, I think I gave it like an 8.5 or something. I do think that Captain Spirit's probably the better out of the two. It's like a really good, like, especially if you explore everything and you get the full emotional depth of that episode and tie everything together, which, without giving it all away, they do some really cool things with the imagination world he's creating with his superhero life and the connections to his villains in real life versus like the stuff he's making up in his imagination. I think it was very smart the way that they put that all together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. Do you seriously think you might be more interested in catching up
probably
now?
won't, but
yeah,
I'll see what the buzz is. I might just read what happens or watch Beyond the Strange maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Which will be the show we'll be doing after episode 2, of course. Where we'll be talking about the episode. Me and Nick talked about episode 1. I'm not sure exactly who I'll have on to talk about. Maybe Nick again. Don't know. We'll find out. Maybe I'll do a bonus episode before episode 2 launches and talk about Captain Spirit, because we never did one for Captain Spirit because wasn't sure if it's applicable to season 2. It's now 100% confirmed that it is indeed very much. So maybe I'll do a bonus episode. Make time for that.
It's good. You got a month to go download the free demo or free game. Play it.
Do it. That's right.
So now you can experience in chronological order.
Damn right. That's exactly, yeah. I will. I mean, I will play episode 2 up until he starts falling and then pause it, quit the game. Go back out, play Captain Spirit. Okay, so other big piece of news that, well, look, Life is Strange is probably one of the biggest pieces of news I like this week. Trailer was really exciting. Release date is exciting. I would also like to say, last note on that also, is 4 months before you got a release date for that. So it's probably not going to finish up series until like this time next year would be the estimate, you know. We're probably not going to see Life is Strange 2 finish until late 2019. But that's fine. I don't want them to rush it. Just do what you need to do. And also, it was like 3 to 4 hours, that first episode. So, like, if they're all that long, they're a lot longer than Walking Dead episodes were at times. You know, there was only like an hour and a half-ish, 2 hours maybe. So, a lot more to do. But the biggest thing gaming update-wise, the only thing I've really played this past week, has been Pokemon Go. A, because I'm busy with our best of 2018 stuff, really. But also, B, they added in PvP. And I've been watching a lot of it and getting people's thoughts on it. And I've tried it out a few times versus the AI battles. Me and Ash battled once, but he hates me and doesn't want to battle me anymore. So that's... Why are you shaking your head over there? Why are you shaking your head?
No. Yeah. I don't hate you.
That's what you're like, I don't hate you. So you may be like, PvP in Pokemon Go doesn't sound exciting at all. Why would anyone be excited about that? It's just a game where you tap the screen. How much could there be to it? Which I'll tackle that I'll tackle that in a second. Ash, I will. But I would like to say that there is a passionate community for Pokemon Go, to the point that in the Silph Road, which is one of the biggest, probably the biggest, I guess it's easy to say, like Pokemon Go related websites, has put together this thing called the Silph Road, which is a thing that you can hook up to your Discord, and then it's a leaderboard thing that all people across the world are going to be able to use to do their own leagues and competitions, and I'll track everyone's results. And then if you want to do like the best of Australia or best of America, you know, like it's just going to be able to track everyone's results, and they're trying to put together a way to track everything to make the competition more professional-ish.
Have
or something along
leaderboards
those
and
lines.
rankings. And
have leaderboards and rankings and stuff like that. So that's exciting for people who want to put on proper competitions for it, and for hardcore Pokemon Go players, that's pretty exciting. And using that system last weekend, so I think it was last Sunday or last Saturday, whenever of listening to this, like pretty much a week ago when you're listening to this, they Trainer Tips and Mystic 7, both Pokemon Go YouTubers, prominent ones, commentated this kind of test run for what a live stream Pokemon Go PvP event could look like. And I watched 2 of the 3 hours, because by the time I woke up and I clicked it on knowing that it already started while I'd been asleep. So I just woke up and chucked it on while I was doing some other stuff. And I found it pretty entertaining. And this is the thing. I'll get into it. Once again, it's like, how entertaining can people smashing buttons be? There's a lot more... If everyone's trying to play it properly, there is skill involved in not the button mashing, because everyone's just going to button mash the same, but there is a lot more to it, like tactically, what you can be doing. And watching it was fun. 2 commentators going over it was cool. They did best of 3 rounds. They, of course, were talking about Pokemon counters, all sorts of things. They also made specific rules. So out of the best of 3 rounds, all of the players had to lock in 6 Pokemon to start off with from the start. When you make a team for Pokemon Go PvP, you can make a team of 3 Pokemon. So they got to make 2 teams of 3 Pokemon, 6 Pokemon total. They had to give that to the judges ahead of time, write that down. If you picked a different Pokemon and brought it in for if your second or third rounds, you broke the rules. That's like what the Silph Road is using for its league rules. You have to pick your 6 Pokemon to start off with, because of course in the regular Pokemon games, you use 6 Pokemon, that's how you battle. So they kind of want to make it the same, but because it's a system of 3 in it. That's all cool. That all makes sense. And when it comes into... Because let me just get, before I break down and why I think there's more tactics to it, let me just get your impressions, I suppose, because you're definitely on the it's just tapping. How's it exciting? So
yeah, it's just tapping.
We played it. We played 3 matches.
Yeah,
or whatever, 3 or 4 matches.
3 matches. First match I won, mostly because you glitched out and you couldn't do anything.
A win's a win, Ash, I suppose.
Yep. It was pretty much just tapping, and then you have this shield thing that you can use twice, which I guess is the only piece of strategy other than which Pokemon you're using when you use those shields. But it just seems to be like tap, 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 tap. Oh, charge the thing. How do I charge the thing? Tap some more.
Yeah. Just, I'll tackle this first. So there was a lot.
I'm going to lose my fingerprints.
You're tapping so hard. You don't need to be so aggressive. I'll tackle this first. Here's the thing. If you like Pokemon Go and its mechanics for battles are stupid, then they should change them. They're never going to change them. And the reason for that is because Pokemon Go and its mechanics are all designed around the title of the game, which is Go. They want everything to be fast, simple, keep you moving. They don't want you to have to select stuff on the screen, different move types. You know, when they announced I was bringing in PvP, a lot of people were like, maybe they'll change the combat system and it'll be like the main games. That's never going to happen. Maybe they'll change the combat system a year or more from now, something, but it's always going to be around the same sort of stuff, which is the tapping and whatever, because they want it to be simple. They want it to be accessible. They want it to be fast moving. They want it, you do a raid. If you do a raid battle, you can get into the raid battle and keep walking while you're doing it and just tap the screen. You don't. It's designed to be simple. It's not done.
It's designed to be able to play without paying attention.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, so the PvP system builds upon the already inbuilt combat system, which is you simply tap the screen to attack, and that does your basic attack, and then it'll charge up your secondary attack. So in normal raid battles or gym battles in Pokemon Go, you tap the screen, eventually you'll charge up your power move and you'll use it. In PvP, they have added in a third charge move. To unlock your third charge move, you have to use a certain amount of Stardust and a certain amount of candy to be able to unlock it on that Pokemon. And for high level Pokemon like legendaries and stuff like that, it costs a fuck ton to unlock their third move slot. So it really comes down to, you better know that you're unlocking the third move slot on a good Pokemon, or else you're going to be wasting a lot of candy and a lot of Stardust. So you're better off not really doing it unless you know that the Pokemon you're doing it on is actually going to be good for PvP, or you're going to even be fighting in PvP much. Because if you only care about playing the game and just casually doing raids and whatever else, it's probably just going to be a waste of candy and Stardust, and you're better off using that on other means. But when it comes down to breaking down what makes the game actually have any sort of strategy, it comes down to, as you said, the shields, the Pokemon you're using, the Pokemon you're switching out. If they're like when they're doing the Silph Road League, of course, it comes down to team building, being able to go into that second match after seeing the Pokemon your person's used in the first match, and being able to switch them into different things to counter that appropriately. So that aspect of it, of course, is only more applicable if you're doing actual proper put together tournaments and not just playing people randomly where there's really no rules to whatever you're being doing. But being able to shield at the right time, being able to bait out shields. Now, baiting out shields is only really more, once again, more relevant in higher league battles because it's going to be more effective when people have their second charge move slot unlocked, because you could have 2 charge moves and you could know that one of them is going to hurt you like fuck and the other one is going to do fuck all damage to you. However, when your opponent uses a charge move, you don't know what move they're going to use. All it tells you is that charge move is incoming and you can use your shield or not. You have 3 seconds to decide if you're going to use the shield. Your opponent can bait out your shield with a crappy charge move to try and open you up for a slot of using the higher level charge move. Then also it comes down to when you're switching Pokemon. So you can switch out at any point once the match starts, especially so you get into a match, you see that your opponent has a Pokemon that's really good against your Pokemon. You're like, oh fuck, I'm about to get slaughtered here. So you switch out Pokemon to one of your other 2. However, once you've switched out, there's a 50-second cooldown to when you can switch out Pokemon again. So if you switch out too early, too late, and that 50-second cooldown before you can switch again, you can basically fuck your entire match if you switch out, because they could still take down your Pokemon somehow. You could do it all wrong. There is a lot more to it. I think it just depends on really if you're playing with other people who are into playing it more professionally, I suppose, is the thing. Like when I was watching the stream of it, because everyone was, of course, more into Pokemon Go PvP, everyone had, not everyone, but they had a lot of their Pokemon have second move slots unlocked. They'd played with PvP a fuck ton, so everyone kind of knew how to bait out shields, switching Pokemon. I watched one match where the only reason they lost is because they just switched out the Pokemon way too early, and then the other person switched out Pokemon and countered that thing. But then, because the other person switched out and countered the Pokemon the other person has switched to, it also counted the Pokemon they had come out then, and they were fucked 2 Pokemon in a row because they'd switched out so early when they kind of try and bait it. There's mind games behind it. I enjoyed it though. I think it really does come down to if you hate the tap and go system, if you just hate that and that's boring to you and you're not willing to look past it, I guess you're never going to get it. But it's also the same as them adding PvP to Pokemon Go isn't really meant to drag in new players, it's not like, hey, if you've always hated Pokemon Go and its mechanics and systems and everything, and you wished it was more like a mainstream Pokemon game, PvP isn't meant to drag in new players. It is meant to make the people who already play the game a lot happy because it's something they've wanted for ages. So I think it's nice that they've finally added it. I think there's more depth to the system. I think they could build upon it and make it have a lot more depth, but I kind of like what's there because it's simple, which is the way Pokemon Go has to be. It has to be simple, but there's enough tactical stuff going on there that watching a live stream for 2 hours of it, I was seeing the mistakes that people were making for the very simple mechanics that are in the game that made it. I'm not saying it should be a fucking esport here. I'm just saying that there is enough there that made watching it exciting enough for me as someone who enjoys the game, I guess. But other than that, if you don't want to get into it if you don't want to get into it seriously, there are still reasons to PvP battle, which is nice. And that is because you can get 3 rewards a day by battling. So you can battle 20 people a day, 20 different friends in PvP. It doesn't matter. It's only the first 3 battles against whoever they are that are going to give you any sort of reward. And I also like how it doesn't matter who wins or loses. Like the awards, no matter win or lose, are random on either side. Because they're not trying to make it so that people get a second phone and purposely are letting themselves win, cheating that way. It's just the rewards are random no matter what. So then the people who care about just playing PvP, not about the rewards that you're getting from winning or losing, but just for the sake of bragging rights, are still going to do it no matter what. And the people who just want their rewards from it are just going to, just get it out of the way. Just battle 3 people, lose 3 times, doesn't matter. Get your Stardust or your Sinnoh Stone out of it that you need to evolve Gen 4 Pokemon, because that is the main reason people want to do it, because those Sinnoh Stones are high demand currently. That's the only way you can get them, really. They used to come from other things, but you can't get them anymore. But yeah, I like it. I think it's exciting. I would watch another stream. I think that's my main takeaway after watching a 2-hour stream of it and watching videos of it, enjoying it. I'm keen for another one. I'd put it on the background. But it also comes from, of course, the commentator's enthusiasm, which helps the stream. That would help. It does help a lot. It's like they enjoy it. They're into it. If there was someone in the room like talking shit and be like, yeah, just tap your phone, man, just tap your phone, it'd obviously bring it all down. But it's because everyone that's involved, it likes Pokemon Go, likes the mechanic. Everyone's just trying to have fun, take it, semi-serious. That it makes it fun to watch. But it wouldn't be fun if someone in the audience or something like that was just yelling out snarky remarks that you'd see on Twitter. Oh, just tap your phone, man.
Yeah, did they have effect mics? Was it constantly...
What?
Were they constantly talking over the people tapping the phone?
No.
So
time? the commentators were like 10 meters backwards in the same room, and they had a decent setup, so you couldn't really see. But it was two people, so they had them like sit in a space where they had a giant green screen behind them and everything. So it's just a giant green screen room, and then two chairs where they was facing each other, so they could look each other in the eyes, kind of thing. And then they had cords plugged into the phone that made so they could see the gameplay. Of course, on the screen there. But yeah, it's just two people just sitting there. It is funny to watch just two people, of course, just tapping. But at the same time, that's where I think the commentators kind of carry it along.
Yeah.
And made it fun. I'm not trying to sell anyone on Pokemon Go, but I do think it was a big piece of news considering people have wanted PvP in the game since it was first launched.
Yeah.
So, and it's finally in, and that is and if you're like, do people still play that game? It's fucking popular as fuck. You have no idea how popular it still is. Like I don't have numbers, but the fact that I can walk around at all times, no matter what city I ever go to, and find people raiding gyms, stuff happening. You know what I mean? Like there's no dead zone. Even in a smaller city like I'm in, I don't have to move to Melbourne to be able to play Pokemon Go. There's even a big enough audience where I'm playing that there's constantly people doing stuff. So I can't imagine living somewhere like dead centre Melbourne or Sydney or wherever. It'll just be, yes, the game is still massive. People move cities like these popular Pokemon Go YouTubers, they move cities just to be where it's all kind of happening, I guess is the thing. And
they need those Pokestops. More Pokestops.
My last word I'll say, since we've brought it up, I'm going to put it out here right now. If I want them to do a Pokemon Go Fest or a Pokemon, because the last one they did was in, they did one in like
Korea?
It was like I thought it was like Germany or something like late last year or something. It was like a European place, I thought, late last year or something like that. But they did do like a Japan one or something previously to that as well. I want them to do one in Australia. I don't care where it is. I'll say it 100% now. I will lock it in. I don't care where it is. Lock
Darwin.
it in now. I'm flying there. I'm flying there. I'm flying
Alice
to Darwin.
Springs.
Because I can't wait to tell people. I can't
Brisbane.
wait. I'm going. That's an easy one, isn't it? Easy fucking
During the summer.
Yeah, all right, I'm willing to put up with the horrible heat. I just can't wait to be like, hey, where are you flying to this week, Dylan? Insert city. Why flying there? Play Pokemon Go. What? Yeah, there's exclusive Pokemon there. But it's virtual. Yeah, but it's virtually only fucking there, mate. Like, get them. But that's it. We'll stop talking about Pokemon Go in case people turned off listening, but they would have by now. We'll try 2 weeks in a row talking about Pokemon Go. I'll start a Pokemon Go podcast. It's fine. People listen to that.
They will.
is the thing.
We'll break down each Pokemon in Pokemon Go every week.
Yeah.
Bulbasaur. Ivysaur.
Yeah.
Venusaur.
Got him.
Charmander.
Jesus. Okay, let's talk about the Game Awards, Ash. We was busy when the Game Awards were airing, so we didn't watch it. The plan was to go away and watch it, and then come back and get our opinions on it. However, they've made the VOD not available for some reason.
Doesn't bode well, does it? From what snippets we saw?
Not really. Yeah. Well, let's put this out here. As was recording other stuff, we kept kind of pausing and watching, like, we watched like 10 minutes there and we watched like another 10 minutes here. So I'm pretty sure you just had it open on the side at all times. You probably watched the whole thing. I don't even know.
I didn't know. Don't have that much bandwidth.
So yeah, what we're about to go over our thoughts on the show. They are based on somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes, roughly, of what we'd seen. Plus, I did manage to find clip outs of it, like certain bits that I've watched, but I haven't seen it in
its entirety.
Full context.
Also influenced by a lot of what we've seen on Twitter, I think, as well.
Yeah, and I've read some articles from different websites written up about it, so because I didn't have an option, really. I mean, I couldn't want it. I wanted to just watch the show and form my own opinion, but then I had to just kind of read articles and stuff to see what people thought and actually find out what happened, because it's just not available anywhere, which seems really odd. It just feels off to not make the show available unless you watched it live. That's weird. It's really quite odd. But from what you saw and read and whatever else, what are your overall thoughts on the show itself before we go down the winners and such?
Not great. I think the best description I've seen of the show from the look of it, it's like a school awards night where people just walked up and took their award and everybody clapped for a little bit. Occasional person had an opportunity to just have a talk, but they had these 30 awards. They needed to hand them out. It was over in 80 minutes. So that's less than a few minutes or award. So yeah, they were just pumping them out. And you want
to know, they weren't allowed to give speeches.
They weren't?
They weren't allowed to give speeches.
That is crazy.
We'll talk about the stuff Ray Johnson won, but she's one person who actually gave a speech and stuff. She just forced herself there to give the speech. They were told no one's allowed to give speeches. That's why people were just walking out, taking awards and walking off. That's what they were supposed to do. What kind of award ceremony?
What the fuck?
What kind of award ceremony?
No wonder nobody wanted to go. Like,
yeah.
Oh, if you win, you get to walk up on stage. You get handed a piece of glass, and you don't get a moment to thank anybody, thank your fans, thank the people who voted, all that sort of thing. Why would you? And you get for that honor, you're going to pay $300 and something. I mean, oh god, that just crazy,
very odd. So, the show was basically people come out, read out something, they'd show a list of nominees, and also look. I really don't spend too much time on it because I feel like most people have said enough about it. And here's the thing. With all the kerfuffle that happened early in the week with Go2Game, which if you don't know, the brief explanation is that's a website that had a writer for them who was under heat because that writer was nominated for Journalist of the Year. And people going through that writer's stuff just found out that he would just copy-paste press releases as written by him. You know, not quotations or anything. It's just copy-paste press releases, straightforward. And then also some of his other reviews were just copy-pasting stuff from Google reviews, like product reviews on the right-hand side when you Google a product and you know how people can review it on the side there for some stuff. Yeah, it's like copy-pasting stuff from that as well. So people were saying, like, that guy was under a lot of heat and so was Go2Game, because then people started criticizing Go2Game for even being nominated for Best Publication of the Year because they're actually a media publicist, and they're partnered with Bethesda to be like Bethesda's media publicist or whatever. That was announced like late last year, and it gets even weirder when Bethesda's like a sponsor of the event, and like there's lots of other weird things like sponsors of awards then winning the awards. Lots of stuff is one way to put it. Just really weird stuff that just takes
there was a lot of conflict of interests from the sound of it.
Lots. Yes, lots. So much that it kind of just overshadows the whole event. And not even to mention, of course, we talked about when we went over the categories and stuff, a lot of the categories and nominees and how the vetting process for the nominees didn't make any sense. Games were allowed to be nominated that weren't even being released yet, and they were just, sure, you can nominate that, and there was zero vetting at all, and there was a short list, and then there was another short list that people didn't even know, and they thought they was voting for the full list, and then the people on the first short list were being told, hey, do you want to buy a ticket to come to a show, even though there was another short list later that kicked them off the finalist list, and they didn't even know about that. It just seemed to be made up as it went, and there was zero thought into any sorts of conflicts of interest or vetting or...
It definitely felt very last minute, unfortunately. I'm sure they did a lot of work and like had a lot planned out. You'd hope they had it planned out more than the month or two since it was announced. But I think there's a lot of things they didn't think through properly. And there was a lot of things that needed to be reviewed and checked, and especially during the nomination process, that just wasn't done. And yeah. I mean, we'll get into it.
So, yeah, we'll go for just run down the awards in a second, and I'm not going to spend much time on all of them, but we'll do that in just a second. But I will say, for all of the criticism I've had for the show, and people getting really antsy, and I don't really want to dive into the go-to thing because that's like an entire episode nearly.
That's an entire
that
thing.
whole kerfuffle. Pretty much, but like when they put out a response and they were saying people were bullying their writer for being criticizing the stuff that was happening, it's like, hey, it's not bullying. It's because people actually care about this event, and people actually want Australia to have an awards like this, and for it to be legit, and for it to be cool and entertaining and all these sorts of things. That's the reason people are getting annoyed and upset and criticizing the awards. It's not to shit on it for the sake of shitting on it.
And let me just say, every single reference to this writer that I've seen has been gone out of their way not to actually name him. So I don't know where this bullying thing is coming from, because everybody's sort of actively trying not to name and shame.
No one's atting him like you're I'm sure some people.
Yeah.
Of
but
course, but
journalists or people in the industry, from what I've seen.
Yeah. No, neither. So odd, really odd. Yeah. My overall thoughts on the event, just once again before we get to the awards, are odd. No awards, no speeches. That's weird. Conflicts of interest all over the place. That's weird. The overall presentation of the show, I understand it's low budget and everything, but it looked like it was just being filmed with a 2001 Handycam sweeping around back and forth from what I saw. And
I think it was an iPhone 6 actually. Like on one of those selfie sticks. Yeah.
Selfie sticks, yeah. So, like, watching it live, production, and I understand there's money costs, and this is where the sponsors come in, but at the same time, you can get the sponsors for the event, but then maybe get rid of some of the categories where you have to have them win awards and stuff like that. I don't know. There's a million and one things, and I hope if they decide to do another one next year that all of the criticism from basically everyone, because everyone's criticizing this event for the right reasons. No one's shitting on it. Everyone's just pointing at pretty much the exact same things, and you think that by next year, if they choose to do it again, it'll be fixed. And my number one thing I want for next year is just actually make the namesake make sense. And this will make more sense as we get into the winners of the awards. But Australian Game Awards, just have it about Australian content creators, Australian journalists, Australian press, Australian games, just Australia, right? Because it's called the Australian Game Awards, but then most of the award winners were not Australian. So then it's just the Australian version of the Game Awards.
Yeah.
It's not industry focused really, apart from a couple categories that specifically say Australian.
Well, the solution is simple. You just separate them. Australian Game of the Year. International Game of the Year.
I guess.
Australian Developer of the Year. International Developer of the Year. That's what the actors do. They do their own... The Australian Academy of Cinema and Television. They do their actor awards, which is all the awards for the Australian things, and they've just announced their nominations for the film awards, international film awards, with all the international nominees for a ceremony held in Hollywood. So, and even the ARIAs have like international awards as well. So
they're separate though, aren't they?
No, there's like one or two, like International Artist of the Year.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
So that's what I mean. Like,
I can understand because you want those big names there to get people interested.
But it's like having the big names in those categories and the EB Games partnership and Ultimate Gamer Pass and all these sorts of things. It just screams you just want viewers and you want people to attend it and you want it to be big. But then if you're trying to make a show that's actually just for the industry, people within the industry, a part of it, be that making games or journalists or anything along those sorts of lines, press, publishers, whatever, then you would just have the categories for the most part be Australian. And if you want to do a couple international ones to to grab in some outside audience, more interest to have nominate some big games like Red Dead and whatever else, then yeah, make international game of the year or something, or just something along those, like two it's like 3 total like that or something. I don't know, but then the rest just be Australian focused. So that's a celebration of your friends, your peers, just a celebration.
It
of
sounded
actual
like
Australian
people actually went there, had a good time because they were with people, their friends, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're having you're drinking, you're talking, you're up there. It's like people are still getting up, winning awards that you like, that you look up to, that you're friends and whatever. I'm sure overall, if he was there, it was fine for the most part, but it still doesn't mean that you can't critique it. And I know I've seen a lot of the winners still post on Twitters, Instagrams, and stuff like that. Still just post up. Like even Hex put up a thing and was like, it was fun to host it. I know a lot of people have criticisms, and I hope they're looked into next year, but it was just fun to celebrate a lot of people that are, are like in industry and stuff like that, which is, it's like, yeah, most people are saying there is stuff, but at the same time, it was just good to just kind of forget that for the 2-3 hours or whatever and just focus on the positives. Yeah, 80 minutes. Yeah, sure. The 80 minutes and focus on the positive. All right, let's run down the winners. And we'll just stop on the ones that really matter to us. So, best multiplayer game went to Fortnite, no big surprise. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six won best esports game, sure. Octopath Traveler wins handheld or handheld game.
Should be mobile or handheld.
Of the year. Yeah, I think that. I'm just reading straight off their Twitter, so I think that's what it's like. Mobile or handheld game of the year, which of course is interesting because that means Switch counts as a thing. Spyro Reignited Trilogy won best family/kids game. Terrible Candidates won the tabletop game of the year, which I'll 100% admit that I did laugh. Someone clipped out when it came up and it was like Terrible Candidates game of the year, and it was like, this is a summary of the the whole show. I was like, oh, it's mean, but it was kind of funny.
Things work out sometimes.
Yeah. Gaming audio brand of the year went to Platonics ANZ. Once again, we don't need to really go over it, but I think all these brand nominees were just a way to sucker in these brands to participate in the show and whatever else. So, Razer got controller and accessory brand of the year. Forza Horizon 4 won best sports fighting game of the year. Once again, should be
racing as well.
Frostpunk won strategy game of the year. Detroit Become Human won role-playing game of the year.
Travesty. These awards have brought shame to this country. Everybody all over the world is seeing this now, giving this award to a game that is clearly not an RPG in the sense of the word that we're using in this context. And they're questioning us as a country, whether we know what we're talking about, if we're clinically insane or not. I spoke out as soon as this came up. We all thought it would just go away. There's no chance anything would happen. It freaking won the award. Ludicrous. Yeah. Ludicrous.
And it says something about Australia's populace because it is a public voted thing. So there you go.
I mean, hell of a troll. Hell of a troll.
The comments in response to this one are quite funny. I can't wait to see Metroid Prime 4 winning the award for best racing game. And then someone wrote, Australia hurt itself in the confusion, and it has a gif of Pikachu spinning around. And then this person rightfully says, there have been so many great RPGs this year. Ni no Kuni 2, Dragon Quest 11, Valkyria Chronicles 4, Octopath Traveler, ... Yet you picked this mediocre game that many wouldn't even consider an RPG. Yeah, it's like, yeah. It's not even you could argue, oh, well, there was like no RPGs out this year, so...
No.
Shrug. It's like there was a lot of legit RPGs out this year, and somehow a game that's not an RPG, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, you play as a character. That means you're role-playing. You classify
all
as
video games
role-playing
are role-playing games. All games
Fuck
are
you.
role-playing games.
God.
Red Dead Redemption 2 won Best Action Adventure Game. Hollow Knight won the Best Independent Game of the Year. Even though it was released last year.
It's shocking.
Congrats. I say it like I'm shitting on them, but it's like I like Team Cherry, Hollow Knight, everything great. But at the same time, it was out last year. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 won Best Shooter.
4.
This next one's weird. Press Start won Best Gaming Publication. that's conflict of interest thing once
Their
again.
media partners, or I don't know.
They were the
that
main
category
media
was odd
sponsor
too because you
of the
write
event.
gaming publication, you think things where people write stuff, right?
Yeah, look,
a
let me put it
podcast
this
was
way.
up for the best publication. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to shit on people.
No.
Once again,
We just want clarity.
Yeah, we just want clarity of what exactly the fucking word means. Like, what does publication in this voting system, in your eyes, mean? Because to me, like you just said, publication means it's like someone with a web. Look, we're a publication, right? Maybe we don't put out enough under certain, people to be counted. Not enough content regularly, considering most of our content's podcasts. But we have a website. Written stuff goes up. Publication of sorts. There was a TV show nominated. There was just a podcast nominated. And I think there was another just podcast nominated amongst other places, which are websites that do video, podcasts, written, the full spectrum. So it's like, what does publication actually mean? There was no clarification. It makes it really weird to vote for. Odd. And also, you could have solved this problem. Have a separate podcast category. And then you could have moved them
media
over.
Podcast or media something. Games Media of the Year. Just
something, yeah.
Make the
then,
barrel bigger.
Yes. Then Ray Johnson won the Game Changer Award and also the Journalist of the Year Award.
Yep.
So that was good. That was probably the one big plus of the whole night. As I said to you before we went to attempt to watch it. That's the only one that kind of makes me happy because that's the only one I bothered going onto the website and actually voting for in the last round of finalists because Ray, well, she does a lot, right?
Yeah.
She's constantly doing stuff in the industry, be it for her day job or many other side projects, and she helps inspire a lot of up and coming people. And she's been around for a very long fucking time. And maybe a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
So
a lot of different roles as well.
Yeah, exactly. And she spins 1,000,001 different plates and does so many different things. So I think winning both those awards makes sense, even if my little asterisk on this was I have no idea what the Game Changer actually, like there was no description for what that award actually meant. I just voted for it.
It's just a person who makes a difference in the industry as far as I was thinking.
I guess, but once again, there was no attempt to explain what it is, yeah.
And that sort of prestigious sort of thing, I would have preferred it not to have been a public voted thing. Or at least not initially. Yeah.
Well, as we said, the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley's, when we found out they did a 90-10 split, I would have been happy with something like that.
Yeah.
You know? But there was no judges for this because, well, then they would have had judges on, I don't even want to get me started, but, so that's good. She gave a good speech and then they started playing music to get her off the stage, but she just kind of kept talking. So good on her.
Yeah. Screw the system.
Screw the people. Screw the man or whatever. So that was good. Then Where is Daniel won the best cosplay of the year. Danielle, sorry. I don't know who they are, obviously, because I read their name wrong. And then Australia's social media god was the Click Crew, which you were telling me last night, and I still had no idea who they were. But
there's some sort of
click on their profile here.
Streaming house group thing.
Music, Loser Fruit Creator, Bazagaza, Marcus, and Laser Beam.
Yeah, those are all big names as far as I know.
I know like half of those, so sure. But once again, I still think Social Media God as an award makes the whole thing look like a joke when you're trying to have serious awards. The Game Changer and Social Media God, one after another, but okay.
Yeah.
YouTube Creator of the Year went to James Turner. YouTube, who I don't know either, I'm sorry, but yeah. Then the Mixer Creator of the Year went to Dukes of Flukes. And Toby the Telly won Twitch Creator of the Year.
Toby on the telly.
Okay. And then Breakout Creator of the Year went to Pestilly. James Turner won the Creator of the overall Creator of the Year award.
Yep.
That's very confusing. Esports Organization of the Year went to Fnatic.
Yep.
Esports Player of the Year went to Aza's 1v4 play on Rainbow Six Siege. Then Miles Ross wins Esports Personality of the Year award. I think that was the one where he was presenting the award and then presented it to himself. I'm pretty sure that was that award, and that was quite weird.
That's awkward.
So then Rainbow Six also picked up something else here. Team of the Year.
Team of the Year for
and then
Fnatic.
And then Futwit's FIFA team star James O'Doherty, Esports Play of the Year. What's the difference between Esports Play of the Year and Play of the Year?
Play is like moment.
Okay, but what's that difference between that and Esports moment? Like,
There was no esports moment. They should have called it esports moment.
this says Esports Player. Oh, Esports Player. Okay. Yeah, they should have called that one Esports Player in the moment. It would have made a bit more sense anyway.
Yeah.
So it's Hollow Knight won Best Australian Developed Game. Again, then our Game of the Year overall went to, unsurprisingly, Red Dead Redemption 2, which was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now, I'm sure a lot of people in Australia saw Red Dead win and then were like, yeah, fuck the real game awards. That's why the Australian awards are better, because they picked the right winner for the game. They get it right. Fuck God of War. You know, there was at least a handful of people who actually said something like that in their heads. These are the real game awards. These are the ones. Australia does it right. Good job, everyone. So overall, once again, show has so many issues, so many problems, and I'm a little bit sad because when they announced it, I was hoping it would be like good, or I was hoping it would be better than this. And I think the biggest problem is I was hoping after watching the show, most of my problems would be production issues or, small things, not major issues like conflicts of interest and real confusion around the voting system. And was the voting system just overall being crap? And, there's just a lot, and it's over now, but I hope by next year it's fixed up. Any last thoughts?
Yeah. Hopefully by next year they figure out who they want this for. Is it for the industry people? Is it for the fans? Is it for the people who are going to come out and pay $300 for a chair? Apparently, the chicken was really good. I saw somebody tweet out.
Oh, that's good.
They want
I
to
hope
praise
it
the
was
show.
worth $300 or whatever.
Yeah. If you didn't get your refund for when it got slashed down to $68, yeah. Yeah, because it just seemed to be not able to hit anybody's expectations or wants.
It was very confusing who they were marketing it towards, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have, if you want it for fans, just pump out some hype videos.
Yeah.
Cool. Do some cool show reels or something. But they were just blank. Every single nomination was just like a blank, like a screenshot with like a red tinge on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Who would you prefer it to be for? Like, where would you like it to?
I don't mind. I mean, they've got the Australian Game Dev Awards, which is for the industry. They do in Melbourne during the International Games Week, which so I guess a fan thing is what we don't currently have in the industry, which would make more sense for this to get fans involved, make it a big event, get more involvements, that sort of thing. I don't know, but you need to obviously get your house in order behind the scenes first before you can.
I think you can kind of hit both roads if you ditch some of the really kind of gross sounding awards like Social Media God, for example, because that just is a silly award and it takes away from any sort of seriousness to the thing. I think
I think like we said when it first came out, they were just trying to get as many people as interested as possible. So they're just trying to hit as many demographics as possible. Get the people who go on Instagram and do those cool shots of video games. Get all those people involved in. Get all the cosplayers who only cosplay in comics or anime stuff. Get them involved.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
It's
just need to be more focused.
Yeah, I think you're gonna hit kind of both markets because you can still have like the Creator of the Year award and all these sorts of ones, and you can bring in huge fan bases from really popular Twitch streamers and YouTubers
if they deserve it.
Yeah, if they deserve it. But I feel like if you still can like nominate Barjo or whatever and bring in and help. And if you did the awards better, and I think it was done better and more serious and whatever else, and you'd had Barjo take the event more serious, then he would have cared more about it. And then if he cared more about it, his fan base would have cared more about it. You know what I mean? Like, and if you have more people caring about it like him, like bigger creators, bring in their fan bases, then it's going to help bring in the audience for it. But you can still do awards for people like that. So Twitch streamer or creator or whatever you want to go about it. But then also just mix it in nicely with more serious awards. I feel like it'll take a lot of work, obviously. And you'd have to you'd have to get a bunch of people together. It can't just be one or two people. I feel like you'd need a room of enough different people to be able to kind of bounce back and forth what categories are good or not. And you need enough people so that if someone says, no, yous are all insane, that's a horrible category. And so I feel like next year, yeah, just maybe yell out for help more.
Also, let people talk. If you want to make it prestigious, you need to let people have a moment. And those speeches are the things that get people to go back and look at your product. People go back and watch Oscar speeches. People go back and watch Emmy speeches. That just seems like a crazy. I mean, I'm sure there are a bunch of people who didn't show up to claim their awards, and maybe that's why. Or maybe they just needed to cut costs and like cut the time down, and that's why they didn't want speeches. But
they just rented out I don't know if it's just the go-to joke I think since I read that is, and I have no idea if it's true or not, but it's like, oh, they only rented the place out for 2 hours or something, you know, like that they had to cut down on the time. So
yeah, the camera guy was only available for
the
90
amount
minutes.
Of time, yeah. But that's the Australian Game Awards. Thank you for joining us on the couch this week. Make sure to check out explosionnetwork.com for all our other shows, news, reviews, articles, and more. Rate Arcade Couch on Apple Podcasts to help out the show, or simply share it on social media with your friends. That is probably the best way to go about it. You can follow the Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod, of course, and join our Discord while you're shopping there at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. You can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Hobby, ASHLEYHOBLEY. And until next week, same time, same couch. It's a merry time of the year, and it's also a great time to start celebrating the best that 2018 had to offer from movies, games, and much more. Starting from the 24th of December through to mid-January, we'll be uploading top 10 lists for video games, movies, TV, music, and online media, with special episodes of Top 5 to break down the top 5 of each separate category and why we picked them and what we love about them. We'll also be releasing some more specific categories within each of those, like top 5 songs to pair with our top 10 albums list, and discussing those on a separate bonus episode of top 5 as well. Then we'll have a special end of year episodes of Arcade Couch, Platinum Explosion, What Do You Want to Watch, and Early Late Nights, along with a bonus Bevan Beats to give you a plethora of best of 2018 content to listen to, read, and peruse at your own pleasure. Stay tuned to explosionnetwork.com/best of 2018 and our social medias on Twitter at ExplosionPod and Facebook.com/ExplosionNetwork to make sure you don't miss a thing. Happy holidays, everyone.
Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap.
Fuck off. Look, if it was just tapping, why'd I beat you?
You're tapping faster.
No, that's not how it works.